Welcome to another edition of Becoming Invaluable. What is that? It's how do we, from a mind body standpoint, become invaluable or irreplaceable in our work life, our social life, our married life, our parenting life. Steve Bowen and I, Steve's here today. We're going to talk about something I think very interesting. But as we talk about becoming invaluable, how do we do that specifically in this workplace conversation we're going to have, Steve? So, welcome, Steve, and let's go.
Yeah, well, thanks, Terry. Hey, look, and we have a lot of fun doing these together. And
Yes.
I really felt like I wanted to talk about merit-based society or a meritocracy, if you will, because we've heard it a whole bunch in the last, 3 or 4 days of news. And I don't want to be political about it. I just want to talk about what does that mean, and what does that then in turn mean for us individually as people. And so when I think of a meritocracy or a merit-based society, I think of one word: performance. Now,
Yes.
look, there is no approach in this world that is perfect. Okay.
Right.
And I'm
Sure.
not saying meritocracy is the perfect approach, but it is based on performance. And I'm also not saying that any other approach, a socialist approach, whatever that might be, I don't care where in the world we're talking about, Buddhism, whatever it is, there is no perfect system in the world. So,
Right.
what I do know is that from building an organization, first of all, working for several, learning along the way, then building my own organization over a period of 20 years and having sold that successfully, is I do understand meritocracy because
Hmm.
performance is essential. And to me, one of the biggest challenges with performance is most leaders and managers are not very good at defining exactly what is performance. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? My attitude on this is every human being wants to take a job and do great.
Hmm.
Now, does that mean that's a universal truth? No, I'm just saying, but I like to approach it with an attitude that people, when they take a job, they want to do a great job. The
Sure.
question is, do we define, first of all, what great looks like?
Hmm.
And that's so important in the world. I don't care whether you work for the government, you work for a company, you work on your own, you're an independent person, you're making your money on TikTok, whatever it is.
Yeah, for sure.
We have to define what does excellence really look like. And I think from my perspective, we're going to talk a little bit more about that business, but maybe you want to comment on in our book, Becoming Invaluable Together,
Mhm.
we're focused on what does excellent look like for the
Yeah.
human being. And there's lots of people that talk about this stuff out there, Terry. But
Yeah.
we like to say, I believe our best message to our audience is if you follow what we've laid out,
Hmm.
you will perform beyond, I don't know, 90, 95% of all people.
Sure.
And it's
Absolutely.
that simple. So
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
my perspective on it. But maybe you want to comment on that a little
for
bit and
sure.
then we'll circle back around.
Yeah. I mean, we call it like the straw person. We can't even say straw man, straw woman. So we'll just say straw person, whatever that is. Straw child. I have a young child. But we develop a straw meaning like you create this straw person. And it's like, what are the most important factors to what we're trying to accomplish? And to your point, I think what so many times gets overlooked is we don't describe what excellence looks like. We interview people, we hire people, we say, we want you to be excellent. Okay, they hire, we read their resume, we see where they went to
Oh, yeah.
college. Okay, that's all great, but that's a baseline.
Yeah.
And I think companies fall short, and even families training their children. You can go into society and churches and global organizations and countries. If we don't know what excellent looks like, smells like, tastes like, how are we going to know? Listen, when I eat good food or you drink good drink and I drink good drink, listen, I know the difference between good and average and no good.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
because our palate has told us that that's the performance of quality. And what we're really talking about in becoming invaluable is what is quality as a human being in performance, in pursuit of excellence in a particular place. And I think that is really the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And it begins with, our subtitle has real meaning to it. It's called
Yes.
Develop the Willitude, two words put together, will and attitude, to negotiate, two more words put together, negotiate, navigate, put together, negotiate, success.
Yes.
Well, you talked about we have to define what excellence looks like. Well, we
Hmm.
all what I find that most companies do a poor job of is for each job that exists. I don't care whether it's janitor to CEO. Have
Hmm.
they truly defined? I mean, written down the knowledge, skills, and willingness or attitude inventory
Yes.
for that job. Now, what is knowledge? Knowledge is what do I need to know to do the job?
Hmm.
Skills are what do I do with what I know? And willingness is how do I feel about what I do? Right.
Yes.
And so, in that definition alone, most companies fail right there. So, what in a meritocracy, what becomes essential is the leaders have to learn how to define that excellence that you talked about. And
Hmm.
this is one method we talk about in becoming invaluable: knowledge, skills, and attitude. There's more aspects to it in
Sure.
terms of truly creating performance that makes you invaluable, or as you said at the very beginning of the podcast, irreplaceable. It's that concept of how do I become so valuable they can't replace me. Well, that means you're performing at a level above any and everybody else.
Yes.
How do you get there? And so the knowledge, skills, and willingness inventory is a step for companies. The question is, what do you have to do as an individual? And I don't know,
Yep.
Terry, we begin with purpose and values.
Yep.
And I think people get really confused by, okay, you have that, you have knowledge, skills, and attitude, and you have all these things about mind and body. How do you put that together in your thoughts and when you talk with people? Because you do a lot of counseling for people as well.
Sure. It comes down to like this as we wrap this up coming up. It's aptitude and fortitude as we're talking about, and then the application. I could say I want to be a fighter pilot for the Air Force or the Navy.
Mm.
Okay, so all right, that's a 1% solution. And I may have the aspirations to want to do that, but if I don't have the right vision, the right ability to fight G loading, those are pre-qualifying discussions that you go through physically. And if you can't pass the PTs, you can't go through. So you may have all the willingness in the world to be excellent, but maybe that's not your fit. So what we're talking
Oh
about is
yeah,
this human engineering process that we talk about in the book. How do you take what you want to do? How do you put the skills, the knowledge, the attitude around it to get there? And if you get there, you may not get there in the vein you want to get there, but maybe you have to switch gears, but you can still get there. It's
yeah,
finding the right fit with your capabilities. So, in wrapping this up, becoming invaluable is really about becoming a better you, whoever you are listening,
yeah.
watching, becoming
And
your best self.
and I would say when you become a better you, if you're that person that everybody loves and likes, you still have to be a better you.
Yes,
If you're the person that maybe not everybody enjoys being around every moment when you're working because you're pretty intense,
yes,
if you perform at an excellent level, it doesn't matter.
it
Neither
does.
one of those matter if you perform at an excellent level. So that's what we hope to share with all of you through becoming
Yes.
invaluable is how do you make yourself stand out above the rest in a meritocracy?
It's awesome. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Welcome to Becoming Invaluable. If you've not jumped on board, becominginvaluable.com.